Well, who else loves a good cherry? Welcome back, my name is Gemma, and over the next couple of videos I am going to be showing you how to process cherries in different ways, from cherry liqueurs to bottled cherries to cherry jam, all sorts of different ways, because when you're in a glut of cherries but don't want to waste them, you just gotta do something, right? So follow me along and let's process 30 kilograms of cherries together. Let's go. In today's video, we are going to be showing you how to bottle cherries. I just have to preface again, this is the first time I'm doing it, but I have several wise people around me who have done it several times and tells me it isn't a super complex process. So if I can do it, you certainly can. There's just a couple of materials that you'll need. What I'm using for those that want the specifics, I'm using a bunch of Fowler jars. These ones are the number 27, for those that want to know. With these Fowler jars, look, ask your mother-in-law, ask friends, family, generally people or grandparents, they generally might have a couple of bottles lying around, or go to your local tip shop and there's normally several bottles that you can find. With these Fowler jars, you do need the specific Fowler jar lids. Depending on the size of the bottle, depends on the size of lid that you'll be getting. So make sure you get the right lids for your bottles. And the last thing you'll be needing in terms of the jars itself are the seals. So these will actually stretch and wrap around the bottle and when the lid goes on, and that'll actually help seal it. The final thing I did forget to mention are these little clips. Here you can see them there. And then we'll be hot water bathing them. And so I'll take you outside to show you the equipment you need just for the hot water bathing. Here we have the preserving sterilizing station. This is specifically Fowler's, but you don't actually need anything special. You can just actually use a big pot if you've got one. And inside, if you're using a pot, you just need to find some kind of grate or something that the bottles will be sitting above the bottom of the base of the pot. And then you need a thermometer of some sort as well, as there are specific instructions to get it right and to make sure you're preserving it right. The first step is actually just finding good cherries amongst the lot and making sure you de-stalk them. I'm actually going to be keeping the pips in my cherries to bottle this time, but you can pip them if you would like to. I'm doing a bunch of pithing later, so I am just going to bottle these ones in pips just to save me a bit of time. Some might ask me where I even got 30 kilograms of cherries. Look, you can go to your local farmer and generally they will have what's called thirds. So first is first grade, second is second grade, and third is third grades. And they don't really sell third grades. And so they just have a whole lot of less than ideal cherries, but are still perfectly fine for the normal human. So yeah, I just asked for a bunch of thirds, and this is where I got a whole bunch of cherries from. Look. There are many different bottling recipes and ways of bottling. You can also actually bottle using apple cider or fresh apple juice, which if I'd been more prepared, I probably would have made some apple cider for this, but today I'll just use a sugar syrup. There are different types of sugar syrups. You can do a heavy sugar syrup, so the ratio of sugar to water is much bigger, or you can do a medium sugar syrup or a lighter sugar syrup. And I'm just going to go for a lighter sugar syrup, but it really depends what you're going to be using your cherries for and how sweet you like things. After washing the cherries, you don't need to pat dry them. A little bit of water is actually totally fine when bottling. So you're just gonna go and start putting the cherries in the bottles. Now that each of the jars are filled with the cherries, we are going to make some sugar syrup. So what we'll be using is 5 3/4 cups of water to 1.5 cups of sugar, and just make sort of that ratio for as much as you need. That's a light sugar syrup, and you can add more sugar depending on what you like. Once combined, you're just heating the syrup until all of the sugar has dissolved, and then you can funnel it into the bottles until it covers all of the cherries. Shaking them, tapping them to get all of the bubbles up to the surface, because you don't want any air trapped inside. It is now time to hot bath these cherries, and this sanitizes the inside, kills any bacteria, which means it will last for a very, very long time. The process is filling it as full as you possibly can, filling it up with water until the jars are the water touches halfway on the jars, and then turn it on. And for cherries, you want the temperature over about 40 minutes to reach 83 degrees. At that point, you want to sustain that temperature of 83 degrees for 1 hour. And so you'll be wanting to come back and check and just make sure things are still sitting at the right time. So it's a bit of a long process, but it will be rewarding, I'm sure. So let's do this. It has now been 1 hour and 40 minutes, and it's time to get the preserved cherries out. What we need to do is make sure the heat is turned off, and then you just take them out, and don't put them in the fridge because the glass will crack, or run them over cold water. You just want to pop it out and put it on the bench top, or I'm just going to actually leave it sitting outside for it to cool down. So let's do that.